Hello, and welcome to this presentation of the design thinking process behind the vocabulary app, WordFlight. First of all, I'd like you to meet Louise. Louise is our proto-persona and at center to every design thinking decision we made when we were coming up with features for this app. It was important that we kept her in our mind as we worked through the process and that we fitted her demographics and her age group and her requirements. Her life's very busy and everything has to be valuable, easy to use, and we have taken that into account. So Louise wants to increase her fluency in languages for work, and she also wants to make her public speaking more engaging. So with that in mind, we moved on to the problem brief. The main problem is time, but also the way that she learns. She learns visually, she learns with games, and also repetition. So it was our job to find a way to sort of put all that together in a usable and fun game. So the problem statement is, Louise needs a visual and repetitive way to learn new vocabulary. Due to her limited time, this must be in short sessions that are engaging and colourful. Well, Louise hasn't got much time. She is traveling around Europe on business and she's public speaking, and she'll be waiting at airports, getting aeroplanes. So one of the important things here was that she had a way to control and to create her own games and how long they were. So giving that personalization of the game back to the user, that they can create what they want to learn, how long they want to learn it for, and in what style. That was the initial idea. They were going to be able to choose whether they wanted to learn visually or repetitively, and you do that in a game way. But actually towards the end we've sort of combined that, we hope. And so again, it's all about the shortness of time and the way that Louise learns. We started with pen and paper with low fidelity prototypes here. The splash page on the left initially took you straight into the app here, so you can see just a few key features here. This is just sort of demonstrations of our initial thinkings. WordFlight, where your vocabulary takes off. You could take the tour, which would obviously guide you around the app, or you could just jump right in. Then to the right of that you have the actual sort of the game section, where you can add to favorite list. If you love the word, you like the word, you want to add it, and you can edit the definition of the word, which is important to the user. You can share it amongst friends, which takes you to the next screen there, to the right, the third one. Louise wants to play a word puzzle with you, and gamification is very important to this app. We decided to put our paper prototype together on a software called Prot, and we went into usability testing. So we decided to test 4 key things. One was to set up an account and add a profile picture, and the reason for that was that we know that people want to do this very quickly. They want to be able to get this part of it done seamlessly. So it was important to us, after following our user flow, we decided to build it so that it was straight at the front and very easy, hopefully, for the user to achieve. Number 2 is to upload your own list of words. This was important for Louise because she might need specific sets of words for public speaking one day, and then she might want key language phrases on the next day. So she needs to have an option to be able to upload those her own words. Task 3, send a word game to a friend. The gamification of this app is the epicenter of it, and we know that if she can link in with her friends, that's going to help her engagement levels within the app, and also it would promote the app to other people. So that's a very important thing. It needs to be really super easy to do. 4 is edit the definition of a word. Again, Louise might be struggling to remember the word limerence, and she could go in and add her own personalized description, whatever it may be, save that, and that will help her remember. So we went on to the beginnings of the prototypes here, and this was what we user tested on initially. So you've got the splash screen which is number 1, follows on to the take a tour or jump in. So take a tour would guide them around the app and the features of the app, and then the jump in was going to take you straight to the game section, which for me was very important that they had the option to do that, although through the usability testing, I mean, that was definitely made clear. And then to the right on the 3, you have tour pages with just a basic outline of some of the description there. Number 4, when you're signing up, you can use Facebook, Google, or email. Again, I wanted to make that as easy as possible for people to use. With Facebook and Google, I think there's always like one click there, whilst email's a little bit more involved. Number 5 is what do you want to learn? So foreign languages or industry vocabulary specifically. Beautiful words was an early idea which we've decided to come away from. And then 6 is how many questions. Again, this is giving the user the option to choose how long they want the game to be, 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, how hard they want it to be, and then very obvious at the bottom, play. You go straight into screen 7, which is your first question, perhaps 1 of 5 or 1 of 10, and you select the definition that you think it is. This was an early iteration of the game, and then you move on to 8, which would be your total screen. From here, you can add it to your favorite list. You can edit the definition and save it. You can hear the word limerence, and you can also share it, which takes you to screen 9 there with your friends. And that's a very important thing there. And you can do that via email, WhatsApp, or text. So our usability testing was very interesting. We came up with quite a lot of problems. Most of them, well, the biggest ones was the game feature was confusing, and it didn't really engage the user. And at this level, this fidelity of prototyping, the game wasn't completely organized, so it's slightly to be expected. And we were more testing the navigation and the usability of the app, but still it was really important to note that was not winning anybody over, so we needed to work on the mechanics of that. Another important point was at the very front of the app, there was no way to sign up without going through the tour pages, so we'd missed that. So after the usability testing, I have to say we were feeling pretty down about it, and we had to go back and sort of rethink the structure of the app. So then we did start making some improvements to the app on the basis of those usability testings. As you can see, the first screen there, we've decided to create a different type of game, and this is to make the game more appealing, which is one of the big usability problems that we found. So you keep the plane flying by being able to put the right letters into the word, and then it gets faster and faster was kind of the beginnings of the game. And hopefully in future usability testing that might prove more interesting. We certainly hope so. That takes you on to the next one. Is one of the other usability problems that was highlighted was that nobody really understood what the app was about. So we were going to have these overlays on for first-time users that would pop up and just say this does this and this does that. So the harder the word, the higher your plane goes. It's just explanatory, and also that would disappear for second-time users. So moving on, the next steps, we need to simplify and focus our main features, and the feature is the playing game, the word game, and then the sharing game. And we need to really focus in on those and make sure that they're doing the visual and the repetitive nature in a timely manner that Louise wants. That's very, very important to this application. Number 2, we need to construct the actual game mechanics. Again, that's just making sure that the game is usable, feasible, interesting and engaging, and it's something that you'd really want to play. Because in the usability testing, one person's comment was that the app shouldn't be called Wordflight, it should have been called Confusion. They had no idea really what the actual gamification was, which is slightly mortifying. But I think with a more focused approach to that game, we should be able to change that. Number 3 is explore the playing theme, just as I was saying there. I think we do need to make the app unique, so we need to focus in on that. Commence more rounds of usability testing, obviously, and more refined iterations. High fidelity wireframes once the navigation and the game mechanics are completed. I'd sort of like to adopt the linear X style within our design, where we keep prototyping, testing, and sort of rebuilding, redesigning, and of course we would then add the user interface design in towards the end. So our learnings, the pros: user interviews were very, very useful for us. They gave us some insight into what people actually used vocabulary apps for and how they used them. Usability testing, it was like gold dust, really. It just showed some really obvious flaws with the design, and because it was only paper and pen, we could just go straight back and redesign. Paper wireframes there, also fantastically useful. And understanding our user requirements, it gives you a really, really good focus and direction for the application. The cons, well, it was our initial feature focus. I don't think that perhaps we approached it with tight enough idea pattern there, and then we deviated from the initial plans, possibly due to some of the user interviews deciding to add this feature or that feature, and then we ended up not really having anything at all. We just had lots of stuff and nothing specific, and so not making decisions on learned information was a bit of a drawback for us. And also, when we're doing our user interviews and usability testing, we need to make sure that we're testing with our specific user segment. So that concludes this presentation. Thank you very much.